All right, welcome and good evening, everyone. Apologies for the slight technical difficulties. At least it was early here. Say iRacing kind of crashed on me there, so got everything back up and running. Drivers finishing up their qualifying laps now, and that's exactly right, Rachel. Tonight is the big one. This is our season 6 finale here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it's going to be coming down to between that 72 of Eric Schaus, who's 15 points behind the 27 of Craig Forsyth. And I talked too soon because iRacing just disappeared on me again, so I'm going to have to rejoin it again here. So apologies. I don't know what's going on with everything, but we'll get that back up and running here in just a moment again. So unfortunately, really strange. iRacing keeps crashing up on me here, so we're going to try to get this figured out, see what's going on, and get this broadcast working correctly here. So unfortunately, I have to wait for it to time out to let me join back in again. So it's going to take a moment. I may actually miss the very beginning of the race. I'm going to do everything I can, of course, to get you as much as I can here. So I'm probably going to defer to my esteemed colleague with me tonight, Steve Gottschalk. You know, he was making some qualifying laps. Steve, I said I might need to kind of run the show here for just a little bit. Maybe give us the rundown of the primary, of course, being where that number 72 and the 27 Craig Forsyth, Eric Schaus are, while we get things back up and running here. All right, I'm rejoining the session now again. So yeah, again, I really apologize. I'm not sure what's going on with everything. So hopefully things will stick with it. I might have to be a little bit more careful about changing cameras and things. It seems like that's when it's been knocking me out. So like I said, we'll make the best of a bad situation here. Not the ideal timing for this to be happening now, but that's just part of the gig sometimes.
Yes,
That's
sir.
Gael.
Hey, what's the, is it correct?
Gael.
All right. So I'm working on getting everything back up running, Steve. So if you can give us a quick rundown of where that 27 and the 72 are gridding this evening. I'm trying to get everything back up and running. We see the pace car is out on track, so we'll get here going in just a moment.
Hey, hold on. Okay, we've got the 27 of Craig Forsyth starting third. And where the heck is Eric Schaus? He is all the way. He didn't qualify. I don't know if he had a problem or if he chose to start in the back, but he is qualified, or he's starting 21st. So he's going to have to work his way through the field. I think we've seen Eric do this before, where he just kind of hangs back and lets the race come to him. And a race like Indy, where draft plays such a big role, you're not going to lose the pack. So he'll be with these guys. He just has to pick off positions and move his way forwards, which I'm sure he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly. I would say we got everything back up running just in time. So our front row is going to be the 99 Matt Wagner, 111 of Nick DeGroot next to him, as green flag is down and away. Again, the scheduled distance tonight is 75 laps, so it's going to get the green flag here underway. And then say you can see championship rivals starting in third and in 21st. Oh, and we're going to have trouble right off the back. AJ Hobson in the 32, heavy contact. And so we got multiple cars involved in this one. You see at 32, I'm trying to catch, I think it's Michael Spell also in that one. I also think I saw Jack Walls involved in that one as well. So right off the bat, big wreck here. It's going to take a lot of cars, possibly, maybe not out of contention. There is the one faster pair. That is definitely not what those drivers are hoping to see to kick things off here.
Michael Spell, I hope he's all right. He was upside down.
Yeah, so hopefully no motion rigs for him. I'll say I'll have to see where this all kicked off. So I think it was actually a little further up. We'll jump over to that 32. Yeah, it looks like actually it did start off here with that 32. AJ Hobson, he just gets loose off of turn 2 and then tries to correct it, just comes right across the path. Looks like I'm trying to catch it. Looks like I think it's Bud Steele. Yeah, you're right. Michael Spell, he goes for a wild ride here. And then from then on out, you can see everybody just trying to find a way to get around here. So you see, I said, we'll have to obviously jump over to our championship contender, Eric Schaus, in the 72. Take a look at him. It looks like he just gets by. You see, they contact right behind him with the 83 and the 50 right there of Jack Walls and the 50 of David Leclerc. So action early there, and I think Eric's going to get away with that one as well. As I don't think he went off track there. I think that's going to save him a little bit as well to avoid having to have any incident points, because again, you also get bonus point for no incident points here as well. So yeah, so that was definitely a big moment there for our championship competitor in that 72 car. So definitely, I'm sure his heart's beating a little heavier right now, Steve.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I doubt he expected something to happen that quickly.
So yeah, so we are back under yellow here, say to start things off. So say unfortunately didn't make a lap there before the caution comes out. But yeah, again, want to go through kind of who is where on the grid here this evening. And so Matt Wagner was a pole sitter. Nick DeGroot qualified second. Craig Forsyth was third. He moved his way up to second before the caution came out. Unfortunately, with AJ Hobson being the initial spin on that and the initial start there, he had qualified fifth. So there was a lot of cars in his path behind him there. So that's why we saw so many involved, including David Leclerc, Michael Spell, Bud Steele, AJ Hobson, Jack Walls were in those incidents there. And a couple drivers there went ahead and pitted under this caution here. John Brill, James Ledford, Ed Williams Jr., and Dwight Plesh. But yeah, so unfortunately, all of those that were caught up in it, looks like they had to take tows. So at this point, they're just having to wait for that tow to finish to get back out on track. So that's going to put them at least one, possibly even 2 laps down.
I'm surprised to see somebody get that loose right on the start, Gael. Didn't have a chance to share my observations yet, but I took a bunch of laps in practice, and the race setup is pushy when you're in traffic, which AJ Hobson was. So I don't know if it was just a matter of the tires being that cold that it gets loose, or if he had changed his weight jacker and some of the other things to loosen it up. Because the one thing I did experience that's pretty bad, you definitely have a lot of aero push if you don't make any adjustments to the setup, and that can make it pretty difficult to try and get a pass on someone.
Yeah, so it is definitely impossible, Steve. Yeah, he may have maybe he was making the adjustments to have that car a little bit looser once it was time, and you're going to be in the traffic there. But I'd say at that point, I'd say they're definitely still coming up to speed. I'd say they definitely weren't at top speed, which I say here Indy's going to be about 220 or so, even 210 or so through the turn. So yeah, so it's definitely possible to say. Also, most likely cold tires played a factor in that one as well. See a few cars jumping out of the pits now. You see David Leclerc hoping maybe he can beat that 99 of Matt Wagner, the pace car, out of the pits and save himself from going 2 laps down and just being the 1 down. You see Bud Steele trying to do the same, but I think Bud's going to get trapped with it. One driver I did see get out there before that all kicked off. Well, I thought I saw it get out there was the 83 of Jack Walls, but I'm actually showing him as being retired from the event here. Also the 90 of John Brill. And actually, no, so yeah, you see Bud Steele, he's backing off here. And also the 50 of David Leclerc. Actually, it looks like David went back to the pits as well. So, yeah, definitely a rough start to the evening for a couple of these drivers. And I'm showing also now the 50 of David Leclerc may have retired from the event as well. So, kind of wild start here for our season 6 finale.
And Eric Schaus has made it up from 21st to 12th, just in less than 1 lap.
That's just pure talent right there.
That's right.
That being said, so actually, all joking aside, I mean, his record points there was amazing because you saw he had 2 cars just to his right that got caught up in that, so it could have easily have collected him there as well.
Yep, a combination of anticipation and good instincts right there. Because I can definitely say when you're going as fast as these are, and you have the closing rate that you do with the draft at a track like this, things happen so quickly. It's really hard to avoid.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As you can see, green flag is, I said, this is going to be the place to be careful, is that accordion effect on these restarts. So as you see, Matt Wagner gets a nice start. They're able to put a little bit of gap over that 27 of Craig Forsyth. But with Indianapolis, these straights are so long. And of course, the single file restarts, it's really easy for everybody to get kind of bottlenecked up on those restarts. So looks like everybody's able to get through that one cleanly, though. As you can see, Matt Wagner going straight to the bottom here, going to try to break that draft, but let's say you see David Leclerc, he's going to waste no time. He's going to jump to the inside here. Looks like he'll complete that pass through turn number 3. And I say now his goal, of course, is going to be to try to lead a lap here. So get him that 1 bonus point. Again, it was a 15-point difference between the 27 and that 72. And it looks like Matt's going to jump back to the inside. So Craig may not get that lap led, and he does not. Matt Wagner able to get the lead back at the start-finish line.
And if I remember correctly, that should be Craig Forsyth that has a 15-point lead. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. So yeah, and so we got some insider info from Eric's wife Rachel, and so Eric's strategy here is tonight was to start in the back and go ahead and try to get a bonus point for the most positions gained in the race. So obviously starting in that 21st spot, as you see him gets very tight here, trying to make that pass on Joe Fierro, had to roll out of it a little bit. So say Eric's up into the top 10 already here, only on lap number 6 with still 70 to go here as they cross the line. So that's going to be what we're going to keep an eye on. Say now I see Craig Forsyth showing as our race leader now this time around. Of course, I don't know if he had the lead at the line, but of course that's the thing. Every point's going to count here. Bonus point for the pole position, bonus point for gaining the most positions in a race, and of course bonus point for leading a lap, leading the most laps. And then I believe there's 2 or 3 bonus points for having a 0 incident race. So all of those really will come into play. And of course, if you're Eric Schaus, you got to try to make sure you win this race to get a couple of extra points as well for being that race winner as well here. All right, looks like Craig's going to get a good run here off of turn number 2, Steve, and across the line. I believe this time he will have the lead at the start-finish line. So that's going to give Craig Forsyth a lap led in that 27 car. So that's going to be one of those things he's going to want to put that in his pocket. So just to help himself, again, just kind of have that breathing room if he can, because at some point in that race, that 72 Eric Schaus is going to find his way back up there, or get his way up to the front here.
And Matt Wagner, as you were saying that, pulled a slingshot and took the lead back.
Yeah, and this is a pretty common thing, especially for the leaders here at Indy. I'm saying that's exactly what it is. It's basically like a little slingshot here that you can call it, where basically you kind of just keep alternating, and because if you just sit behind the car in front of you, you're going to go slower. But if you kind of leapfrog the leader back and forth, it actually really picks up the pace of the field here. And so that's what we're seeing. And say this time though, Charles Teed, he's able to follow along as well. So now we're going to probably see that number 05 machine. He's going to try to jump across that 27 of Craig Forsyth. Not going to get the run, I don't think, here entering 3. As I said, he's going to look inside, and he's going to try to make that move happen here. But the goal, what you really want to do here for that kind of a move, is you want to get behind him right on the exit of 2 and 4, get that big draft, and then jump to the inside, kind of midway down the straightaways. You're going to see this time Charles Teed is going to get there. And that's kind of the approach you want to take there, and then you kind of just rinse and repeat, and that's really the strategy you take for to make these faster lap times when you're in this lead pack here.
Yep, and again, that's a product of the draft and the closing rate that enables the car that's behind, to get such an incredible run on the car that's in front, which is how they're able to slingshot down the straightaways, which basically means they have so much momentum that they've built up between from the draft, that they're able to pull the car under the one in front of them and go by them pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's about I would say at least a 5 mile an hour difference, as Craig Forsyth by himself was maxing out just about 220. But what we'll do here is I'm going to watch again. We'll watch now that 27 of Craig Forsyth. He'll probably do the exact same move to that number 05 of Charles Teed here off of, well, actually, as I said, Charles is going to protect the inside this time. He doesn't want to play that game. He wants to kind of actually take control of this race and control this lead point here. And that's the other thing you will see from time to time is you will see these leaders. And we've seen it at a lot of the 1.5, 2 mile tracks where they'll protect that inside line and try to make that pass happen on the outside. So it's like Charles was thinking about maybe doing that. This time he stays low. But yeah, say this time Craig Forsyth already up to 223 miles an hour there. So yeah, so at least a plus 3 miles an hour just from the toe there.
The one thing that's a little bit tricky when you make that move is it puts you on a much lower entry into turn 1 and turn 3, and that gets to be just a little bit of a challenge as far as keeping control of the car and keeping it off the rubble strip, because something else I discovered when I was practicing. You hit that rubble strip and it's goodbye.
Yeah, these cars very, very sensitive to the differing embanking or just even the surface itself. And so, yeah, you want to make sure the ideal line really that you talked about, Steve, is actually, that's a really great point, is you want to kind of have your left tires just at or just maybe below that white line. It's kind of the shortest way around to pick up speed. But if you touch that little strip, like you said, on that inside line, it'll really upset your car, and it's a tough one to save when you make that happen. So it's definitely a fine line, especially like I said, we're going about 220 through the straightaways, and they only drop down maybe a mile an hour or two just from the friction of the cars turning through the corners here. So I mean, for the most part, if you're up front here, your foot's to the floor all the way through this race right now. And so that's, again, you just really have to nail your entry and exit points at this track.
So here's a little status report. Eric Schaus, 11th place right now, and he was 2.1 seconds behind, and in the last 2 laps he's gained a couple tenths, so he's 1.9 behind right now.
Yeah, I think right now, Eric, I think he's just playing this one cool. And I think what Eric's able to do right now, because he's making great, we were talking about the leaders going 220. Eric was up to 225 there entering turn number 3. And so I think Eric right now, I think he's kind of going full fuel save in that 72 car. Try to stretch that fuel mileage just that little bit, because that's also going to play a big role. As we're mentioning, the leaders kind of leapfrogging each other, kind of control the pace of this race and go as quick as they can. When your start could be like maybe the 4th, 5th car in line on back, this is where you can really save fuel here, kind of run the long gears, stay in 6th gear as long as you can without losing too much momentum, because you're going to have a lot of aero wash. You're going to be slowing up a lot more than the leaders are up front, so you're going to be out of the gas a lot more than these leaders are, and that's going to let you save a lot of fuel. And so I think right now you can see that gap that Eric's got to that car in front of him of Gary Corley. And I think that's the strategy call for the 72 car right now, is just to make sure that he kind of plays it safe here at this point in the race, and maybe try to let the pit stops determine where he cycles out after this first run, because we're only about 5 or so laps away from our first set of pit stops here, Steve.
Okay, yep. And he could definitely be leaving enough of a gap there just to be able to react and avoid any accidents that happen.
As we say that, though, he gets right in the middle of one there, so he's got 2 cars right in front, Gary Corley, Todd Merkel. They kind of bottled up a little bit. You saw he tried to make a move, had to roll back out of it. This is where, say, when you're that 72, you start to get a little nervous, because, say, you see these guys running side by side in front of you, and you're just really hoping that they can keep it clean. And at the same time, also, you don't want them costing you too much time, because you want to stay within about that 1.5 to 2 second margin to those cars in front of you to make sure you do not lose that draft.
Wow, he did lose a lot of time there. 2.3 behind now, so he lost 4 tenths.
Yeah, I think he definitely rolled up. Again, I think he's really playing this cautious right now. Say, again, no need to get overly aggressive at this point. We'll say it's going to be a 3 pit stop race as things go right now. So say, again, the fuel window, roughly about 20 laps or so with the 75 lap distance. It's going to be, there's no way of getting around, I don't think, that 3 pit stop strategy here. However, again, if you can get that extra lap, that could be enough for maybe Eric can save enough fuel, run the extra lap, get maybe a lap lead, of course, and also have, if he can get a clean entry and exit where he doesn't have to worry about the traffic around him, that also plays a big role in just your in and out laps at these kinds of tracks.
And just to show you what a difference the draft makes, in that one lap, he gained that 3/10 back.
Yeah, so the draft is huge, and actually looks like that last time by. Trying to check it was Eric or Gary. Let's say, but those two cars were the quickest cars on track again, just by grabbing the toe and just making that big run here. So yeah, so up front, it looks like it's starting to stabilize a little bit. Charles Teed looks like now he's kind of setting the pace here, and I think that might be what we see with Craig Forsyth. Is Craig might be just trying to keep his track position, but at the same time roll out of that gas a little bit, save a little bit of fuel in that 27 car to make sure that he's in a good pit window as well here for that our championship competitor.
So if you're right, we should see them start peeling off pretty soon, and I would guess that the leaders, as hard as they've been going at it, are probably going to be the first ones to pit.
Yeah, I would think Gary Corley and Gary Corley. Oh, actually, we got a car that just caught the wall there off of turn number 4. I think it was Ivan Plot in the 75. Looks like he's going to mostly get away with it here. Let's say I'm trying to take a look. Looks like it's still up to pace here, so may have just kind of scrubbed a little bit, saw a little bit of smoke there, but I think it looks like he is okay. So definitely a little bit of a moment there, but you can see I think he has lost a little bit of pace. As you can see, the 32 AJ Hobson, he's going to sneak on by. That being said, though, I think pit stops are going to be happening here very soon. So we'll jump back up front to our leaders and keep an eye on them, because I think those top 3 are going to be the 3 that we'll watch for to duck off first. But right now it looks like everybody's going to stretch it here a little further. I think that lap 1 caution probably was allowed them to save probably at least a lap or so on fuel.
Yeah, I would guess so, because they had a few laps under caution there. It was a good chance to change the engine mapping and save a lot of fuel.
Yeah, that's a great point too, Steve. These cars, they do have a lot of onboard adjustments. You can adjust the engine maps, you can adjust the weight jackers, the anti-roll bars front and rear. So there's a lot of things you can do to adjust this car in the clean air and dirty air, and of course just if you're trying to save some fuel. So again, the window we got was roughly around that 20 lap mark. It looks like so far no takers yet, so number may have been a little bit off of what we thought it actually might be. As I say that, here comes Craig Forsyth, gets a good run off 4. He's going to take the lead back over again. And actually, as I say, that caution is out. It looks like it is going to be the 75 of Ivan Pla. So that if he had damage earlier, that may have affected it, and that's going to bring the caution out, which is going to bring everybody in here. So it's unfortunate that pit strategy may not come quite out to pan. Let's go see what happened to that 75 car first, though.
Wow, he just lost it.
Yeah, taking a look here, coming out of 4. Yeah, you're right. The back end just completely steps out. So I'm wondering if that contact maybe with that wall a little earlier may have damaged that car just a little extra bit. And yeah, so heavy hit, unfortunately, for Ivan there. I think he's going to be able to limp it back to the pits here, though. And that'll be able to allow him to get that faster pair done and then get back out on track, possibly stay on the lead lap as well. Actually, I don't think he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap, because I see, you see Craig Forsyth, he's actually kind of chasing down this pace car pretty quickly here. So the rest of the field's going to have to make sure that they catch back up to him before the pit stop cycle happens here. So yeah, so I believe this will actually trap Ivan 1 lap down, but with all the leaders pitting here, he might be able to cycle back out and be able to then do the wave around and actually get back on the lead lap that way.
Well, this was a very opportune time for that caution to come out.
Yeah, so there's going to be no strategy here. Everybody's been taking 4 tires and fuel. I'm pretty sure a lot of these drivers were pretty close on that fuel window as well. So a few drivers might be kind of disappointed about the caution, though, I feel like, Steve, just because of the fact that maybe they were feeling like they could actually do something with that strategy. And I'm wondering here, I mean, a lot of these drivers, they're on about 23 laps on that run. I'm looking at the lap counter right here now here with 53 to go, be 52, and they cross the line. Could someone in this field possibly try to save and go, like, let's say 25 laps per fuel run and make this a 1-stop race instead of a 2-stopper, if should we go green, of course, to maybe try a little bit of pit strategy here, because I could see that coming into play tonight.
That would be something.
I think the first thing we'll be watching for is going to be that pit strategy, if anybody tops off on the 1 to go. Let's say, that being said, though, we're going to have all the leaders here hitting the pits. Do have a handful of lap down cars to go ahead and staying out here to try to get that wave around, I suspect. So we'll see again. So basically, there's going to be a couple of cars cycling around each other. Craig Forsyth again qualified third. So Matt Wagner's going to have to come around him. Same thing for that number 111 of Nick DeGroot. He's going to sneak in right between them. So now it's all about them hitting their marks and getting out cleanly and quickly. And it looks like Craig's just going to edge out that 99 of Matt Wagner. So Matt's going to gain a spot, though, through a pit cycle. He's going to jump up to second position. And I believe third is going to go back to that 05 of Charles Teed.
So I think one thing we should watch for here is whether anybody tops off at the as we get into the last lap of this caution period. That might suggest whether someone's going to try and make this on one stop or not.
Yes, I agree. I think, yeah, if we see someone top off, I think that's going to be kind of a telltale of what that might happen. And actually, I didn't think about it, but unfortunately for Ivan Pla, he won't be able to get the wave around as he pitted there when the pits were closed. So he's going to have the tail end of the lead lap. So he's going to be trapped a lap down. I believe Lucky Dog went to the 14 Ed Williams Jr., so move that 14 back up onto the lead lap here. That's going to be a big break for him. And then a lot of the other drivers that are staying out here are trying to basically be on the tail end of the lead lap, the tail end of one lap down. Including AJ Hobson, who right now is showing as one lap down. Bud Steele in the 6 is also showing as one lap down currently. And so that's basically what their strategy is here. Is they were 2 down. They take this wave around, they'll just be the 1 lap down. And so, again, I think that's going to be their goal here, is to just maybe then, again, next time around, maybe get a timely caution and just be in a better position here. So now, like you talked about, let's see if anybody hits the pits here and tops off on the 1 to go. And I do not see any takers at this point, so either our numbers are off and they might all be able to make it on a 1-stopper. I see one jump in there. I think that was Dwight Plesh, and I also see James Ledford also in there, and Ed Williams Jr. Ed makes sense. He had just pitted and just got the wave around, so he's going to get his lap back like we mentioned. So it made sense for him to, at this point, to go ahead and pit there.
Yeah, definitely. If I remember correctly, that would be his first opportunity to pit, because you can't pit before you get the wave around.
Exactly right. Yeah. So for Ed, it was a no-brainer there. He might as well take that pit stop. The ones we're going to be watching for now on the potential stretching idea would be James Ledford, Dwight Plesh, as they're both sitting in the pits here at the moment. Again, both actually had pretty long pit stops there. Not sure if they may have had some damage or something. As I see about 19 seconds for James and 14 seconds for Dwight. So I'm not sure if there's maybe some damage repair being done for them or not. But we'll keep an eye on it. So I'm going to be really intrigued to see if this fuel strategy, if there is a fuel strategy, or if I'm just making things up, because again, we're going to be restarting with 50 to go. So if these guys can go 25 laps per tank of fuel here, they could possibly make it a 1-stopper. Again, that's all pending on this going green to the end. Alright, so everybody's getting lined back up here again. Craig Forsyth is our race leader, points leader by 15 entering tonight's event. So he's got that bonus point, at least one for leading a lap here. So next one he's going to be aiming for is to lead the most laps on this race. Again, Eric Schaus, he's up to the 9th position from that 21st position starting spot. I think that caution didn't quite cycle out how he was hoping for, as Craig is down and away. And we get back underway here with 50 laps to go.
I'm watching Eric. He is right on the back of Benjamin Combs.
Yeah, so this is really a good opportunity to make these passes here, especially if the guy in front of you doesn't get the best of starts. You can kind of lay back, maybe try to get that toe and then jump back after him. The only thing is, like, sometimes they'll say, like, I think right now you see Benjamin, I think he's got the draft of that 76 of Jim Brooks. As I'm watching Eric about hit 227, I think they're entering turn number 3. So I think just unfortunately just too much draft there for Eric to have a chance to make that pass up front there. However, speaking of up front, Matt Wagner, he's going to take the lead back over again. That's going to be, I think that's what we're going to be seeing here, is that kind of that leapfrog strategy here. As you see Charles Teed, he's going to waste no time. He's going to try to grab that second spot here. Can't quite clear that 27 Craig Forsyth. He's going to have to roll back out of it, and he's going to have to try to regroup and make another shot here a little later on.
Yeah, these guys are having a pretty wild race up front, and you have to think that Craig Forsyth is trying to get that extra point for most laps led. So I think that's why he's fighting so hard with these guys.
Yeah, every lap definitely matters, and I think the clean air too. I think that's going to play a big role in this as well. As you mentioned, David Payton. He with that little bit of a checkup from Charles T. That's allowed David Payton to get around. So move David now up into that third position in that 38 machine, and then now you can see right behind him, Nick DeGroot there is back in the fifth spot. And say he's got a little bit of traffic behind him. He's got Joe Fiero right there. Now Joe under attack from Jim Brooks. And then, as we mentioned, right behind them were those two that we had talked about just a moment ago with 27 Benjamin Combs. Or, sorry, not 27 Benjamin Combs, 77 Benjamin Combs. And then you've got the 81 Todd Merkel. And then go back to Eric Schaus, who looks like he's dropped a spot to that 81 of Todd Merkel.
Yeah, I would have to guess that he's just playing it safe right now because he's let a pretty good gap open up between himself and the cars ahead of him.
Yeah, I see just in front of leaders here. I think they went for an off strategy call, and it's going to be a little dicey now for these leaders because the leaders are going to have to fight with some of this lap traffic. You see Bud Steele right there in front of him. I'm trying to catch the car that's in front of him. So I'm trying to recognize the paint scheme. Oh, it's the third. I'm sorry, that's the 32 there. AJ Hobson. So right now these two drivers are on the tail end of one lap down here. So what they did was they took that wave around, then they went ahead and pitted early. Because they were pretty low on fuel from the get-go, so it was a good strategy here. They were able to get out right in front of the leaders, but now they've got to try. They're going to have to fight hard here to try to stay in front of that 99 of Matt Wagner. But again, if that fuel mileage is close, this might be where Matt's kind of inclined if he doesn't have too much pressure behind him from that 27 of Craig Forsyth, where maybe he's just kind of going, you know what, I'm just going to cruise behind you two. You guys do the leapfrog, and I'll just save fuel here to the end.
Yeah, definitely. And Craig could also be playing it a little bit conservative at the moment, knowing that they've got the 2-lap cars up there, and this is a little bit more of a danger zone than what he's had this entire race so far.
Yeah, so obviously the biggest issue for these two now would be just the fact that they've got the dirty air in front of them, and like you talk about, I mean, these cars get a very bad aero push, but again, it's kind of that it's a benefit one way, it's a detriment the other way. So obviously saving fuel if they are tight on that fuel number, should we go green to the end. What they're doing right here, and this is exactly what you want to have as a leader, is to be able to save as much fuel as possible. But again, you have to worry about making sure you don't get too tight on the exit of these turns and risk catching that outside wall. But based on what I'm seeing, I think that's exactly what's happening. I think these leaders are just kind of cruise control here. I think they're all in the same mindset. Again, really none of them topped off on that one to go. The only two that did were Dwight Plesh and James Ledford, who unfortunately actually kind of lost the main pack here. So they're about 4 seconds off that lead pack. So yeah, there's a lot of differing strategies going on right now. Eric Schaus, he's still on that kind of just kind of falling off the tail end of this lead pack as well. So I say Eric's going to have to be careful not to fall too far behind. Because like I mentioned again, this is where you start getting too far back. If you're not in that 2-second window, you can easily lose that main draft.
Charles T tried to make a move underneath David Payton in turn 1, and actually got completely underneath him. But it looked like he probably had to back off a little bit, and wasn't able to complete the pass. So David Payton is holding on to third now.
Yeah, I think this race is kind of adjusted a little bit, going from kind of just from a outright pace type of a race, knowing what the fuel strategy was, to I think the strategy side is taking effect a lot more right now versus kind of just being an outright brawl. So you can see everybody's kind of staggered out here just by like maybe a couple car lengths or so of one another. Like I said, Charles tried to make that pass, just wasn't quite able to get it done there. Which might show also, like you said, Steve, that maybe that outside line that does have a little bit of fighting chance against that inside line if you need it, where that inside line just has to pinch it down a little bit extra. Oh, as I see trouble in the back there, I think it was the 14 I saw. Yeah, oh, big contact for him. That's Ed Williams Jr. He's going to limp that thing back to the pits here, so he's going to be able to avoid a caution coming out. Well, unfortunately, that car is going to take a big shot. Let's go back and see what happened to Ed there out of turn number 4.
While you're looking that up, Garrett Corley got by Eric Strauss. I think Eric is just, I don't know if he's saving fuel right now or just being ultra conservative, but um, he's lost a few spots since we restarted, and I'm pretty sure that's on purpose.
Yeah, actually, Ed just got loose there off of 4. I think he got a little bit too low, caught the inside, and that's about all he could do there, unfortunately. Same great avoidance by those 3 behind him to avoid getting into him there. So yeah, so we'll jump back up to our race lead, and yeah, like you said though, saying actually as I say that, things are really starting to kick off now. You see David Payton, Gary Corley side by side here. Also Jim Brooks to the outside of Joe Fiera, I believe that is. Jim's going to jump a spot into that 6th position now. So right now, from about 4th on back here, things getting a little bit dicier now. And actually, also need to mention Nick DeGroot. He's worked his way up now up to that 3rd position. As you can see, he's kind of snuck away from those behind him fighting for those positions here from 4th on back. Actually, as I say that, Nick's going to pit here. And so I'm a little curious. So maybe, so this might be an alternate strategy where maybe he's going to pit here, 40 to go. And then again do that one more stop, kind of a short fill if you will, at 20 to go. We'll have to wait and see there. So again, that curiosity is I'm gonna be curious to see is anybody gonna try to stretch it to get to that lap 25 mark to try to make it on just that one stop, and that might be why we see Nick there pit, kind of short pit there, maybe try to get that clean entry exit here and just have some clean air in front of him.
Yeah, the one problem with that is he's going to be all by himself, and this setup is significantly slower by yourself than it is in a draft.
Yeah,
so he's gonna lose a lot of time here.
Yeah, we're gonna need to keep an eye on the lap time. So say he's back out on the backstretch, so he's got about a full straightaway lead over the leader, so he does not lose a lap or anything like that. So that's kind of job number 1 done there. And it was a quick stop, 4.9 seconds. So I think that's a fuel only stop for that 111 of Nick DeGroot. So I say this after this lap here, once he gets to speed that next time by, I want to compare his lap times with Matt Wagner, because I don't think Matt's really running as fast as he can. Like I said, these 2 in front of him kind of doing that leapfrog. They're setting the pace right now up front. I think, like I said, I think Matt's just trying to go fuel safe here and just cruise control really. And that might be where Nick to say, you know what, I don't want to play this fuel save mode. I want to try to do something different. I'm going to go pit early and then just kind of go full send to the end here. And kind of maybe try to force others to have to pick up their pace to kind of react to him, if you will.
I would say that's possible, but I don't think that he, even with those guys in a fuel saving mode, I just don't think that that Nick by himself without a draft is going to be able to keep up with them lap time wise.
Yeah, saying we're actually going to get... Oh, actually, it's not going to matter. We got a big hit in the back, and unfortunately, it's going to involve our championship competitor, Eric Schaus.
Oh, no.
Big shot for him. Jim Brooks also, and I think that's the 65 of Gary Corley I see as well. So, yeah, unfortunately, Eric has no choice. He's going to have to take a tow there. As you can see, he's jumped back into the pits after that tow. You can see he's missing both right side tires on that car, so a massive hit for him. And so I think, unfortunately for him, he was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And just nowhere for him to go here. So let's go back and take a look. We did see the 76 and the 65 both caught up in it, so I think that may have been where it kicked off here.
It's exactly the problem I warned about.
So now we'll take a look here, watching Jim Brooks on the inside line here, entering turn number 3. And yeah, you're right, he just catches those rumble strips, and like you said, Steve, as soon as he touches them, that car just steps out immediately. Unfortunately for the 65 Gary Corley, nowhere for him to go. Heavy hit to the outside wall for both of those drivers. And then you see Eric Schaus tried to avoid it, just barely caught the right side of Jim Brooks's car, and actually had so much momentum, he still even caught the back of Gary Corley as well. And so unfortunately, all 3 of those drivers getting big damage there from that incident here. So you can see that one of those tires from that 72 car just bouncing down the front stretch here as well. So yeah, just very, very unfortunate for those drivers. Just like you said, just an unfortunate civil mistake that caught a lot of drivers out here. So say Eric's having to still wait to get that tow done. Same thing goes for the 76 and the 65 as leaders are hitting the pits. And this, I'm curious to see, Steve, we talked about that strategy here on the on that 111 of Nick DeGroot, and actually it looks like Nick's had to hit the pits as well, so he doesn't lose a lap, but it's not going to quite pan out the way he was hoping for, as you can see.
Yeah, that's too bad. I thought maybe he was going to stay out and take the lead, but yeah, he probably has to pit here.
Looks like Matt Wagner going to cycle out with the lead over Craig Forsyth, and I believe David Payton there in third. So yeah, so I'm trying to take a look to see. I believe the 54 AJ Musselman. AJ is going to get his lap back, so he's going to get back out on the lead lap in that 54 machine. He was one of those got trapped in that early caution that took out a bunch of contenders there early on. So I'll say a big break for AJ there. They also need to mention we talked about the that 6 of Bud Steele and the AJ Hobson. Both of those two drivers, remember, they were on the tail end of the lead lap. They were fighting hard to stay in front there, so they didn't get trapped 2 laps down. They now are just 1 lap down. They're on the same fuel cycle as the rest of the leaders here as well. So that strategy they did, taking that wave around and then getting back out on track, that worked perfectly for them. And that being said, though, it is going to be a fight now, Steve, for these drivers, some of these drivers to get back onto the lead lap here. Just because of the fact that we're going to have the 6 of Bud Steele. He's going to be one of the first cars 1 lap down, I believe. Actually, it might be AJ Hobson. I apologize. But then you're also going to have that 72 of Eric Schaus. He's trapped 1 lap down. He's back on track. Jim Brooks, Gary Corley, they're back out on track 1 lap down. So we've got, I believe, 5 cars here that are all going to be fighting to try to get that lap back should we get another caution here.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild race within a race.
And actually, it looks like Ivan Pla, he's hitting the pits as well, so it's actually now going to add 6 cars to that list here, as that 75 is going to hit the pit road as well. So cautions here out with 35 to go, so we're going to restart, I believe, with 34 to go that next time around. So now at this point, there is no, I don't think we're going to see much of any strategy for like fuel savings, anything like that. I think at this point, nobody's going to go 35 laps in fuel, obviously. At this point, they're just going to be going kind of full send to the end here, and I don't think we're going to see any riding like we saw that last run there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think now, if it stays green, the big thing is going to be pit strategy, where exactly you pit and whether you pit with other people so that you can maintain the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to really see the outright pace of Nick DeGroot after that pit stop, as the caution came out pretty much right after he had made that pit stop. I really want to see how his lap times had compared with the leaders here. He might have been able to at least see that 1 lap of how his speed was compared to the other ones. So that's going to be what we'll have to keep an eye on again. I mean, because that's where we're going to have a window here. Again, should we go green, we're going to have a window of when you can make your final stop. And if you want to kind of run it like a road course, where you pit as soon as the window's open, or you're going to have the other option, of course, where you kind of run it long and then make your last pit stop. Because again, the question is going to be, I don't think tire wear is going to really be a critical thing. I think it's going to be all about track position. So I think these drivers are going to have to make that call of what's going to be the best here to get them get in that track position here at the end. All right. So
Okay.
Let's say lead's going back in the hands of Matt Wagner. Pace car is in. And again, it's up to Matt when he wants to go. You see everybody lined up on that outside line. Matt is down and away. It looks like a pretty clean start there up front, as he's going to sneak away here again, though that draft's going to bring Craig Forsyth right back into the mix down the backstretch.
For comparison's sake, the 2 laps that Nick DeGroot ran by himself was 41.5 and a 41.6.
All right, so we'll see what kind of lap times these leaders are going to be running after this pit stop cycle is done. I'm actually also seeing the 6 of Bud Steele. He's had to hit the pits already, so may have had a pit penalty in that number 6 machine, unfortunately. So that's going to take 1 car out of that big fight for that first car 1 lap down. So I'm going to be watching the kind of the ticker on the left here. Right now, it looks like Eric Schaus has been able to be that first one down. Also, I think I saw the 65. Gary Corley looks like he just caught the outside wall. Looks like he's going to get away with it for the moment. But we've seen before that actually wound up making it life a little bit difficult for, I believe it was AJ Hobson before we saw that happen too. So we'll keep an eye and make sure that car is running in okay shape. But right now, I think Eric Schaus, though, he's kind of on a mission here, as he's already the first car 1 down. I think right now he's just going to try to get as far forward as he can in this run.
Yeah, I think so. He definitely looks like a driver possessed right now.
Yeah, he's going to jump to the outside of Joe Fiero right there. So say on track position, he's about in the 6th, 7th position here. Again, still first car 1 lap down. And the other thing is, I mean, he can't lay back too much because you got to make sure you don't wind up kind of falling into the clutches of some of those other guys with the way this draft works here. As you can see, the top 5 is actually kind of snuck away here a little bit. You can see they're all within about 7/10 of a second of the lead. Nick DeGroot, though, in 6th position, he's about a second or so behind Benjamin Combs there. So still in that draft window to catch them back up. But again, that's where you kind of get a little nervous as you start falling that little bit further back the pack.
I mean, at this point, I mean, Eric Schaus can work his way back up to the front, but it's not going to, there's no way that he's going to be able to pass all these cars, make a whole lap around under green, and have a chance to race for the win. He needs a caution.
Yeah, no, Eric's going to need a caution. As they say that, of course, he puts down the fastest lap of the race here. I saw him hustling that car. He got really close to the wall, if not even touched it a little bit off of turn number 4 that last time by. So he's definitely leaving nothing to caution right now. He's just going full send. Like I said, I think he's kind of driving possessed right now. It's one of the things where you had your game plan, it didn't work out, so you kind of just throw that all out the window and go right back to what you know and what you do best. And so yeah, so he's kind of, I think, full send mode right now, and he's going to have some pretty good help in front of him. You see Nick DeGroot, he's caught that group as well. These two running some pretty solid laps right now. As I say that, Nick DeGroot, he runs the fastest lap of the race now with that 40.444 that last time by, which was about a full second quicker than our leader Craig Forsyth that last time by.
And also a full second faster than what he ran by himself.
Oh, as he peeked to the inside, but then Charles Teed, he had the same thought. He's going to try to sneak around David Payton here. As you can see, they've gotten around Benjamin Combs. Eric Schaus is working over that 77 of Benjamin Combs here down the backstretch. So I say again, this is where you have those two strategies here of maybe try to get your lap back the old-fashioned way or try to hope for a caution. Eric is in a pretty good spot. Like I said, he is the only car right now in this lead pack that is a lap down. The rest of these cars here are all on the lead lap all the way back to Todd Merkel in that 81 machine in the 7th position there. They've got about 5 seconds or so to the cars behind him. So actually, if Eric wanted to, he could roll out here and then kind of go back to conserve mode. But again, we'll say when you kind of turn on that full send mode, it's kind of hard to turn that back off as well.
Yeah, definitely, and he's probably also trying to prove to himself that he could be up there racing for the lead.
I just saw AJ Musselman. He just hit the pits. He's exiting now, just ahead of the leaders. He might just hold off in front of them. I'm a little curious. I feel like that's going to be too soon for this to make it to the end. And again, unless the field mileage numbers were way off, maybe you can go 30 laps on fuel. I'm a little skeptical about that, but we'll keep an eye on the 54 cars. He's the first to hit the pits after the screen flag, or that last caution, I should say. So he's right now just a couple seconds in front of the leaders here. So say the problem for him is he's going to be just close enough, I think, to get kind of reeled back in by them, as they're going to be able to pick up that tow from that 54. As you see, he's actually running the inside line, trying to break that draft of these leaders, as I think that may have been his pit strategy here, is to maybe try that early pit stop here and go to the end. But again, that's going to be 29 laps. So unless, again, if the numbers I got were way off, maybe these drivers can actually go close to 30 on fuel.
Yeah, that kind of, I don't know. That sounds like cutting it too close to me. I don't see how he can possibly go that many laps.
No, we'll wait and see. That's what I was thinking, where you see one person do it, and so if you see someone else blink and do it too, then you wonder if it is a potential. So right now, though, say Craig Forsyth, Matt Wagner, they're kind of doing that, what do you call it, the slipstream, passing back and forth with each other, leapfrog, if you will. But say that Nick DeGroot, he's worked his way all the way back up into that 3rd position. So say Nick wasting no time after getting back into this lead pack here. So say great job by him catching back up here. And like I said, AJ Musselman is trying to shake these guys, but you can see now Craig Forsyth, he's going to waste no time. He's going to say you're going to see the whole field snake down the backstretch there, because they do not want to lose that main draft of these cars in front.
Yep, and right now it does look like they're just kind of holding their positions and not fighting each other too much. Craig has had the advantage of being out front in clean air, but he's about to lose that clean air.
Yeah,
Let's see.
he's going to be getting so much more speed here as he, again, hits about 226 there entering turn number 1. And so I say he's going to start getting that dirty air. But the other thing that he does have going for him now is with that 54 in front of him of AJ Musselman, this is giving Craig a little bit more draft, also letting him lead more laps here, Steve. I say, obviously, of course, right now he's in a good spot just with the fact that Eric Schaus had that, unfortunately, caught up in that incident and is trapped a lap down. But this is really allowing Craig to lead laps here. Might be able to get to that point of leading the most laps to finish up this race as well. As we 25 to go here, 24 this next time around.
Yeah, Craig Forsyth is really he's more in a defensive position at this point. He can really just take it easy. He doesn't have to lead all these laps with the gap that he has points wise. I mean, Eric would have to, at this point, not only get by him for the lead, but Craig would have to have something bad happen to him to lose a whole mess of spots.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Craig would actually have to lose, basically probably fall out of the top 5. I would think most likely, and then like you said, Eric most likely get the win. But again, though, I mean there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna have to go the right way for Eric for this to happen. Like you said, first of which is gonna be that caution that he's been hoping for. But problem now is again AJ Musselman. He's right now kind of fighting back and forth with Craig Forsyth to be that last car in the lead lap. Should he get caught here, and if they get around him, that's going to wind up actually now putting AJ Musselman in the first car 1 lap down. So this is actually putting Eric Schaus in a bit of a tricky spot here, because you can see actually now Craig Forsyth does get around him. So now AJ Musselman, should a caution come out, would actually be putting himself in that lead, in that first car lap down position.
Yep, so that really puts the pressure on Eric Schaus right now. He's got to get past AJ Musselman.
Yeah, so now that 2 cars have gotten around that, the 54. So I say before AJ could have done that kind of that leapfrog thing, jump his way back up to the front. But right now I say he's going to be in a bit of a tough spot here now as Nick DeGroot, he's worked his way up to that second position. And I say actually Nick's getting a good run here off of 2. He's going to peak low. I say that I believe this might be the first lap possibly led for that 111 of Nick DeGroot here. Say qualified second, so he's been up front during this race, but I don't know if he's got to the top spot at this point.
And I'll tell you something, considering that he took a chance on that early pit stop before, and then ended up having to pit again shortly afterwards when the yellow came out, putting him at the back of the lead lap. He's done a nice job getting back up to the front.
Yeah, this is a really good recovery drive for that 111. Like I said, went for a strategy call early, I think, and they didn't pan out, obviously. So now we'll see what the strategy call is going to be later on in this run. As they again see these top 2 just again kind of play that leapfrog game. One passes the other, then the other passes back on the other straightaways. So yeah, right now let's say these 2 kind of just battling back and forth as we're going to be coming up here. This next time by is going to be coming across for 20 to go. So say we'll see again if there's going to be any strategy calls. Here's first one doing it, Nick DeGroot. He's going to hit the pits here as he was battling for the lead, coming to 20 to go. So this is what I was wondering, if was anybody going to try that, maybe try that strategy again. We don't know 100% what that fuel window is, but at this point, Nick DeGroot's going to be the first one to jump from the front there.
I'm really curious to see how that works out for him, because when these guys are all bunched up, like you were saying before, the lap times tend to be 41.2, 41.3, 41.4, and that's not too far off from what Nick was running by himself. He was running 41.4 and 41.5, or 0.5 and 0.6.
Yeah, it's gonna be curious to see. I said we'll try to do the same thing we had last time. Unfortunately, got spoiled by that caution. Say Nick's again. He's going to get out here in front of the leaders. It was an 8-second stop for him. As I say, this time was definitely a tires and fuel stop, not a fuel only stop. As Matt Wagner, big push there off of turn number 1, almost got into the side of that 54 of AJ Musselman. The problem is you can see how much momentum that's cost Matt Wagner there. As now you see Eric Schaus, he's jumped to the outside. Let's say now you got these 2 here battling for that position here, entering turn number 3. I think looks like he's just going to have it for Eric. And I see one driver. I think that actually might be AJ is having a little bit of a connection hiccup. That's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're going about 215, 220 here.
And David Payton gave Eric Schaus a nice push there, so he helped him get by Matt Wagner. Now he's right behind AJ Musselman.
We saw there for a moment Charles Teed was leading. Craig Forsyth, he takes the lead back over. So So again, maybe watching lap time. So right now, leaders ran at 41.5, 5.2, 41.53. Let's jump back down. Where is our 111 of Nick DeGroot? Oh, so he's still getting up to speed here. So I don't have a lap for him yet. So this time around, we should get the first clean lap for that 111 of Nick DeGroot.
How badly do you think Eric Schaus wants to get by AJ Musselman right now?
He's in a good spot. You see, here comes Matt Wagner. Matt's going to hit the pits now, so he's going to be the second of these drivers to hit the pit road. I think Matt saw that time he lost when he was trying to kind of in that group there, so he decided he's going to try to go off strategy as well. And actually, last time by, Steve, Nick DeGroot 41.330 to the leaders 41.4, so about a tenth of a second quicker for that number 111.
Wow. Okay, so that's actually not going to hurt him.
Yeah, so far, so well, again, we'll watch the lap times and keep an eye on it as these laps progress, because basically Nick's able to get across the line here a little bit, just a little bit before the leaders here, so we can kind of see what his lap time is compared to theirs. And here comes Craig Forsyth. He may have saw that. He's going to react to, maybe even reacting to Matt Wagner, so Craig's going to hit the pits here for his scheduled final stop of the race. Again, want to update the lap times. Nick DeGroot ran a 41.4. Charles T ran a 41.5 that last time by, so again, a gain of about a tenth of a second for that number 111.
And Matt Wagner is catching Nick DeGroot, so pretty soon we're going to have those two working together in a draft, and that should help both of them to be faster.
Yeah, that's going to be, see, exactly. This is all about now your entry-exit laps. I say, as long as Matt's within 2 seconds of Nick DeGroot, these two will be able to kind of keep that fight going between the two of them here. So we'll see if Matt's in that 2 second window or not, and it definitely looks like he is. And Craig Forsyth, he's going to have to try to do the same here, but you can see he's going to fall off just behind these guys. So if he can get up to speed here quickly, might be able to tag onto the back of that number 99 car. You can see he's going to go straight to grab that draft of that car as well, as we actually have a lot of our leaders now hitting the pits. You see Charles Teed, Todd Merkel's in, or sorry, no, Charles Teed's in, David Payton, Benjamin Combs, Dwight Plesh. So that's going to cycle the lead now actually out over to that number 81 of Todd Merkel. And with that, that's going to put AJ Musselman and Eric Schaus on the tail end of the lead lap at the moment here.
And I think when this all shakes out, that Nick DeGroot is going to be in the lead.
Yeah, we have to keep an eye on where everybody's cycling through here. You see Benjamin Combs, he's heading out of the pits with those guys out he just pitted with. Todd Merkel still leading the race here, though. He's got about 10 seconds over James Ledford now, who is in that second position. Those are the two drivers here of the lead pack that have yet to make their pit stops, or their final pit stops, I should say. Again, so I think what we're seeing here for some of those other two, though, like I said, AJ Musselman and Eric Schaus, these two just going to try to stretch this as long as possible. Hope for a yellow. That way they can pit here and stay on the lead lap. So right now that 81 of Todd Merkel is showing as our race leader. Looks like he might be peeling off, yet here he comes. He's going to make his final pit stop. You can see trying to get that thing low down. So he definitely wants to step out on the back of him. So this is going to cycle it over now to James Ledford in the 48. Nope, here comes James. James is going to hit the pits as well. So like you said, Steve, now with everything cycling through, it is going to now we have 3-car battle here right now for the lead. You've got Nick DeGroot, you've got Matt Wagner, and you have Craig Forsyth here are the top 3 on track here.
Yep, and they've got a nice gap to the 3 that are behind them. So it's probably going to come down to a battle between these 3. I don't know whether the other guys are going to be able to catch them or not. But I guess if they keep leapfrogging like we're seeing right now, and the other guys stay in line, we may have a 6-car battle here shortly.
Yeah, it's going to be all about getting to that magic number, which right now, I say we'll see where David Payton is. It looks like David's about 3.5 seconds out behind these top 3. And I feel like with these Indy cars, these cars here, I think 2 seconds is usually the magic number for how far you can be before you start picking up the toe. So right now, Charles T needs to pick up another second or so, maybe 1.5 seconds actually, to get to that magic window where he can start trying to close down. But like you said, though, I think the way these guys are running here up front, their lap times are definitely starting to pick up. So looks like Nick DeGroot actually 41, so you see 41.1, 41.2 actually for those guys, and about a 41.3 for Charles Teed behind. So yeah, they're starting to stretch out just a little bit here.
And Eric Schaus made his pit stop. AJ Musselman is still out, so Eric is hoping, I think, that he's going to be able to get some advantage here rather than have to pass AJ on the track, he's going to pass him with pit strategy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it was AJ pitted a little early. To say we were a little thrown off. I didn't think the fuel window was going to kind of work for what we were talking about there. So yeah, so I think AJ can pit in about. He'll have to pit, I think, in about 4 more laps if that 20 lap window is accurate. Maybe 22, something like that. So AJ's got a little bit longer that he can stretch this thing out to see what he can do to try to stay on the tail in this lead lap. But I'll say right now, though, it is a battle up front. So you see Matt Wagner now, Craig Forsyth. He's going to jump back to the front. And then again, we're going to see Nick DeGroot, I'm sure, not too long as well. So right now, it's a really good three-car battle here for the lead. And again, we got a pretty good group right behind them, though, for 4th, 5th, and 6th here. You've got Charles T there, you got David Payton, you've got Benjamin Combs here. Then right in front of him is that 72 of Eric Schaus. Again, Eric, again, hoping for that yellow. But right now, actually, Eric's going to be hoping for it to stay green, as in front of him is that 24 of Joe Fierro. And Joe, you can see, is just on the back of this lead pack. So actually right now, Joe is in that lucky dog position. So he would actually be the beneficiary if a caution was to come out. So right now, Eric's going to have to hope for this to stay green and to chase that 24 back down. So right now,
yeah, he's got some ground. Yeah, he's got some ground to make up to catch that 24.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of watch their lap times as well. So Joe Fierro ran a 41.45 to 41.58 for Eric. So yeah, so Joe's just a little bit quicker. And this time AJ Musselman does hit the pit road. So that's going to cycle him out of that cycle there. But the question is going to be, of course, now where does AJ cycle through with this? Because if he gets a good pit stop, he could wind up being in that either tail end of the lead lap or possibly that first car down.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see where he comes out.
And so now it's going to all be about, Steve, when to make the run, who makes the right run at the right time with the leaders. Again, I mean, we still are coming around here. Going to be 8 to go. AC Matt Wagner makes a late dive right across the front nose there, front wing of Nick DeGroot there. He's going to take over the top spot. And that's going to be what these drivers are going to have to do, is they have to make that right move at the right time to be able to try to get the win this evening. As you see, here comes that 54 AJ Musselman leaving the pits now. Might be able to just drag onto the back of that group here. He comes out right behind that number 24 of Joe Fierro. So this could be a pretty good battle here for that lucky dog position as well.
Yep, and unfortunately, Eric is still too far back from these guys to fight.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to keep an eye on lap times. Eric did pick it up. I actually ran a 41.2 compared to Joe's 41.3. As you see, again, 2 big moves there. You saw Nick DeGroot try to make the pass, and then as soon as he went low, Matt Wagner went low to get around Craig Forsyth. So right now these drivers are going to have to try to figure out when and where to make these moves for the win of this race. I think that's what everybody's doing here, is just trying to kind of jockey for a position and find that right place and the right time. Because I say, if you're leading off of turn number 4, that may not be where you want to be. Sometimes you might, you have enough time to get that draft and they can chase you back down before the start-finish line. And we've seen it before in the Indy 500. I believe it was Marco Andretti and Sam Hornish Jr. We saw a finish like that where Marco had the lead and then Hornish was able to draft back by him before the line. So I say it's definitely not over till it's over. As you can see there at the line, it was very close between the two of those drivers at the line.
Matt Wagner retakes the lead. This is going to be a heck of a finish between these 3 guys.
Yeah, I say for some drivers, they're going to be hoping this goes green to the end, because this is Indy Series, so they have adjusted the rules to match what the IndyCar does. So there will be no green-white checkered finishes here. If there is a caution, let's say with like 2 or 3 to go, this race will likely end under caution. So at this point, we want to see this thing go out to the end and watch these top 3 at the moment. For the moment, top 3 fight it out. But I would say I'm not going to say never, because that 38 of David Payton, he was about a 1/10 of a second quicker than the leaders that last time by. And again, if he can get to the rear of those 2 lap cars in front of him, the 54 and the 24, that could shake everything up. As you can see, Eric Schaus, I think he's playing leapfrog with those 2 in front as well. So they're trying to get to that magic 2-second window to try to chase these guys back down.
Whoa, nearly a 3 wide.
I was about to say, I jumped back to the lead there, saw about 3 wide just for a second there, trying to enter turn number 3. So So that's the other thing. As these guys are battling like they are, this is just going to bring those guys behind him just that much closer together. You see Matt Wagner, he's going to protect the inside line, and this is exactly what these other drivers are going to be looking for. As you can see, Nick DeGroot, he's going to sneak inside. We are going to go 3 wide entering turn number 1. Nope, Nick DeGroot rolls out of it, but that is going to be something I think we're going to see him stick that move, and he will not roll out of it later on in this race.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a test for whether he could make it 3 wide coming down the last straightaway and maybe get the win that way.
I think it's a very good potential there, Steve, because I say if you get that run at the right time, you might be that third car exiting forward, but you could be the first one at the line. And again, that's what it's going to be all about, is making that right move at the right time. So you see right now Matt Wagner's been kind of protecting the inside line. That's forced Craig Forsyth to go up high. And I say right there, you see Nick DeGroot. He's going to push that 27 car, whereas probably in the future we might see him jump to the top side and try to make that last lunge for the end.
And we've only got, what, 3 laps left here?
We have 3 to go here at Indianapolis, so it's all about to say the business is really starting to pick up here. And again, I'm still not counting out those guys behind because David Payne's about 2.5 seconds, Steve. And we've seen before, when they catch that draft, they can gain up to 2 seconds a lap. So if these guys, again, if they keep battling like they are, they might bring that 38, the 05, and the 77 right into this battle here at the end.
Yeah, it's definitely very possible, although they still have a significant amount of ground to make up.
Yeah, I say they do. But the thing is, once they get that draft, it's gonna be a big gain and fast. So 2 to go here at Indianapolis for the season 6 finale. Again, right now things looking great for Craig Forsyth for the season title, but he's got other plans in mind. He wants to try to win this race as well. That being said, though, he's going to have to try to see if he can find a way around that 99 of Matt Wagner and the 111 of Nick DeGroot. And again, don't look too far behind, because we could see something shake out at the very end with those cars coming up behind with David Payne, Charles Teed, and Benjamin Combs.
And Nick DeGroot is trying to get by Craig Forsyth on the outside. He had a heck of a run down the short chute. But Craig's got the draft off of Matt Wagner to help keep him ahead of Nick.
Yeah, here we go. We are on the white flag lap, so this is going to be it between that 27 and the 99 and 111 for the lead here as things run. You saw Matt Wagner get tight there in 1 and 2, but just able to hold off the lead here for the moment. Now, does Craig Forsyth have the momentum? Here comes Nick DeGroot. He tries to go low. Matt blocks. He's going to go to the middle here. I don't think he's going to roll out of it this time. We probably are going to stay 3 wide. We are going to stay with 3 wide. Oh, he did have to roll out of it. He catches the wall off of 3. Now it's going to be between Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth out of turn number 4 here. Does Matt have... Matt
my
catches
God.
the inside curb there. He's going to spin. He wrecks out. That's going to give this win over at the line here. Craig Forsyth going to get the win and the championship tonight. Bringing home in second is going to be, I believe, David Payton. Charles Teed's going to find his way up into that 3rd position when everything's all said and done here. What a wild finisher, Steve. We're going to go back and see what happened to all of these drivers here, because we saw first the Nick DeGroot. He tried to make that 3 wide move, and I think he just got too tight. He had to back out of it, caught the outside wall. And then somehow through the rest of it, Craig Forsyth just came through at the end. So here's the entry to 3, and you can see just that 111 just pushed a ton there, and unfortunately catches the outside wall just that little bit there. You can see tries to hang on to it here, and I'm saying actually looks like, yeah, you can see he all over it. But then say Matt Wagner, though, I think Matt tried to run it too low, like we talked about, Steve. You can't touch that curb there. I think Matt just entered a little bit too low here, entering turn number 4. We'll keep an eye and watch him. He enters real shallow, and then I'll say watch here as he comes on the exit.
No, he didn't. He did not touch the rumbles.
He did. He touched it right at the very exit. He caught him and it just stepped down. You see Craig Forsyth had to make a quick adjustment, jump to the outside there, and then say unfortunately Matt Wagner heavy contact with the inside wall here. And so that's what allowed then. So obviously Craig able to sneak away with the win, but then the battle for that second spot between David Payton and Charles Teed here, as you see him coming out of the front stretch. Here comes those guys chasing back down at the line. And so now is where David Payton, he grabs that second spot. Charles Teed finishes in 3rd. Benjamin Combs in 4th, and Nick DeGroot still is able to bring that car back home into the 5th position.
Yep, you're right. He did catch it just at the end.
What a wild one. You can see as Craig slows it down after getting the win. You see Eric Schaus actually going to be, looks like the first to congratulate him on the win. Those two just had a great championship season between the two of them. A great fight between the two. Say pretty much the exact same as last year. Unfortunately for Eric, this time it's going to go to Craig's benefit this year. Those two put on a great showing between the two of them. It was a lot of fun watching the two of them battle week in and week out, and I say it's going to make it that much more exciting for our season 7 coming up here shortly.
Yep, definitely. Congratulations to both of those guys.
And better yet, my iRacing didn't crash at the end, so we didn't have to worry about missing any of the action because that was a wild one. So say as we're going to jump, we'll watch our race winner here come across the start-finish line here. As he parks it right on the yard of bricks, and there he goes, celebrating that win. Celebrating the championship and the win in style tonight. All right, and while he celebrates, we're going to start grabbing our top 3 to have some interviews with them. So give us just a moment, and we'll get those top 3 pulled down here. All right, so we're going to start off with that 05 of Charles Teed. Charles started in the 4th position, brings it home in 3rd. That was a wild one tonight, Charles. I say we saw you a few times. You were one of the few that really tried to make moves. That say a couple times it looked like drivers were kind of just going on cruise control. It didn't look like you were having too much of it. You're say, all right, you guys ride. I'm going to go ahead and make these passes. So you were up in that front pretty much the whole race there. Just unfortunately cycled back just a little bit from the pit stops. I say maybe give this race a few more laps there, and it would have been right there in the mix with you and David and Benjamin there at the end. You guys were pretty much hauling the mail there those last couple of laps.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think we made a mistake to pit a little later than we should have. Had we pitted a couple laps earlier, I think we would have been right in the thick of it. But it was that was a mistake. But it was a heck of a lot of fun, and really good, clean racing up front the whole time. There's Craig was trying to drive careful to make sure that he protected himself and got himself to a finish. And it looks like Eric had some problems, but we tried to give him room. But yeah, no, it was fast. Nick was really quick. Was glad to have him run with us, and good end of the season after a bunch of rough, bad luck races. Good to get a podium to end the year.
I say we're actually watching your car. It was a good finish. And then it looks like it ended a little bit rough entering turn 1 after the checkered flag. There.
Yeah, someone must have ran out of fuel or something, because I was looking about, did I just finish 3rd? And I looked up and there was a car stopped in 1, so it was that might have ended my perfect race or clean race, but it is what it is. We weren't contending, but looking forward to next season. You guys do such a wonderful job with Green White Checkered. I want to thank you guys all season. Jim for running a great league, Charles as well, and it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to next season.
Yeah, say obviously after the finish. But I mean, take us through that last lap as well. I'm sure you see the leaders up front fighting for the win, going 3 wide, entering 3. You see one of them obviously get tight there, coming off of or entering 3, and then of course you see that one also then having that issue out of 4 there at the end. I mean, what was going through your mind there at the end, seeing all that happening?
So it was tricky because I had Eric, who was a lap down, and I didn't want to be the one to dump him to end his race. And then David and Ben, and the 3 of us were in a battle there. So it was really tricky. But then it got to a point where I could tell we weren't going to have enough laps to catch them. So I'm like, well, what if they dump it? If I can just get around David, this could be a dub. So I was trying, but I got a little loose into 1 and wasn't going to take us out on the last lap. And it let David get out in front of me and brought her home. Very fortunate. Just drove right through it, kept the hammer down.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job. Like I said, it was a lot of fun watching you guys. We were kind of talking about up front, kind of that leapfrog strategy that you'll see the leaders do. So it was kind of, that's what it was, like the top 3 or so drivers, you'd see them leapfrogging each other, kind of fourth on back, seemed like they're just cruise control, just kind of full fuel save there. Was
Yep.
that more for the pace, or for you was it more of just trying to keep that clean air on the nose when you had the opportunity to take it?
Clean air. It was. We tried to do single file and you couldn't pull away. Craig and I did early in the race, and I didn't do anything. Kept the pack stayed there. So then it was just leapfrog to protect first and second, and made it really hard for someone else to get involved. So it really just kind of protected you and kept you up front, and made it really hard for anyone else to get involved in that front pack.
How bad was the aero push for you?
It wasn't too bad. It got a little worse as the run went on. I mean, I ran positive 3-way checker through most of the race, which helped keep it loose. Although at the end you had to bring that back down because it would be too loose in the bottom as the tires wore off. But no, it wasn't too bad. This was one of the better races for aero push. You'd get a little bit in the corners of the pack.
Yeah, I'll say it was a blast to watch. I'll say this is one of those things like I almost wish we could run Indy every week. It just feels like this, whatever it is with these cars in this track, they just work perfectly together.
Yeah, it was. You could tell it was a good one. I think it was. I was extremely fortunate there at the end, but we did have pace early, middle of the run, so we'll take a podium after some really cruddy luck earlier in the season, and time to go get some more W's next year.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you come back in season 7. It's going to be a lot of fun to see you and David and the rest of the guys with the group out there. So yeah, again, great job to finish off the season though, Charles, and look forward to catching you here soon in the next season.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Steve. You guys do a great job.
Thanks. And great finish, Charles. Glad to
Thank
see
you.
you up there.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right, so that is our third place finisher of Charles Teed. And so that's going to jump us now over to our second place finisher, that number 38 of David Payton. So we're going to go one more lap back because you can see the gap between them at the line there. So it was a tight finish actually between himself and Eric Schaus there at the end. So we'll pull in David Payton in that number 38 machine. Started 6, finishes in seconds. And I say it's kind of a similar thing as we were talking about with Charles there, David, was sorry, I was looking at the wrong person there. If you had maybe that pit stop you wanted just a little bit better there, obviously you wouldn't be a little bit closer, but I'm guessing the same thing. You're probably hoping for just a couple more laps because you guys are pretty much there once it was go time at the finish.
Well, actually, I was hoping for less laps because I was talking with Charles before you dragged us down here. So on the last pit stop, I took less fuel than I needed, and not on purpose. I made a mistake in my little. I like to calculate fuel like the old school way with a calculator and a pen, and I don't use any of the fancy apps. I like to do it, that way because it's more satisfying to me. And guess what? I screwed it up, and so I was going to be short by like a tenth, and or maybe 2 of a gallon, and so that the entire last run there in the race, I was trying to juggle saving fuel, staying behind Eric, trying to use Eric as a block, trying to use Eric's draft, and trying to keep Charles and Benjamin, from charging up behind me. And it was just the entire last half of that race, or last run after those pit stops, was insane. But that was fun.
That's pretty stressful.
Yeah, I had one eye on the fuel thing and one eye on the mirror, and I ran out of eyes, and I don't know. It was busy. I was super busy.
Yeah, and then in the worst way, you're wishing that you could just get on it as hard as possible because you want to catch the 3 leaders.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to watch the relative, and we were ticking it off just a little bit because I knew we had pitted a couple laps after they did, so we may have been able to, if I was able to catch the draft of those lapped cars, and then I could have maybe to try to make a run at those guys. And I don't even know what happened on that last lap. I mean, I just kept my foot down and turned left, and next thing you know, I'm in second. So I don't know what happened up there. It happened so quick. But I think if I was closer, I probably could have had something for him. If I didn't make that mistake with the fuel, maybe I could have got up there.
Well, you definitely showed some strength early on in the race. You were way up there battling. If I remember correctly, you may even had the lead at one point.
No, I was considering. I was up in third, and I was kind of sitting there. I didn't really want to go on any sort of like offensive on Craig because I knew he was running for the championship, and I didn't want to make a mistake and wind up screwing him over. So I was sort of trying to sit behind those guys, the top 3 cars, for as long as I could, and then eventually I got antsy, and I made a couple of attempts, but it was kind of a learning thing where I was figuring out that, okay, you can't take the inside with worn tires. It ain't going to work. And then at one point, everybody started pitting. I'm like, gosh, I thought maybe I'll stay out one extra lap and grab the extra point for leading the lap, but I decided against it and just came in with Charles and the rest of the leaders to stay on the same cycle as those guys. But I was close, but no cigar.
Okay, I got 2 questions, and I'll throw it back to Gael. The first question is, did you make any adjustments to the car to deal with the aero push? How bad was that for you? And then the second question is, do I smell hot cocoa?
No, I don't think so. I do smell dinner cooking though, so there's something waiting for me out there. As far as the adjustments, good question. It was, I know that they were struggling a little bit with the setups with the new build on the IndyCar, and I think they really nailed it tonight. The setup was great. It would get really loose, but you had a lot of like wiggle room in terms of like what you could do with the bars and the weight jacker to play around with the balance. So the setup was really good. I was making adjustments, but not like super aggressive, just a couple clicks here and there on the weight jacker, a couple clicks here and there on the rear bar, and the front bar I left alone the entire race. I didn't even touch it. So, but I did notice it was kind of, I almost on the opening laps, when the tires are cold, going into that first corner, as you turn in, it's the back end really wants to come around on you. I think that happened to somebody. I think we had a caution, before we finished the first lap, and I think that's what happened because it almost happened to me. So I was playing around with trying to figure out, keep the weight jacker low for the start, let the tires build some heat. Then I would crank it up a little bit when we got in the traffic to try and maneuver around, and then I would crank it back down again as the tires wear, and because the right rear was wearing a little bit higher than the rest of them. So there was adjustments going on, but overall the setup was excellent. They knocked it out of the park. I think they finally got it figured out here.
Excellent. Well, awesome job coming in second. Go ahead, Gael.
Thanks, Steve.
No, so yeah, I think you pretty much covered everything, Steve. Yeah, like you said, David. I was like, yeah, coming to the out of 3, coming to the checkered flag there. Yeah, it was a wild one. It was a 3 wide attempt there for a little bit. I say that unfortunately Nick got caught up in that one. I think he had to roll out of it. Just got really tight, and so that's where the first one happened. And then I say Matt was actually kind of talking to us in the chat a little bit, and said he was actually saying he was actually getting loose off of 4 before he even touched those rumble strips. So he's not sure what happened to his car, why it got so loose coming to the checker there, unfortunately, on that one either. But obviously they say the kind of the seas parted for you, if you will, there to get you up there to get that second spot. But
I felt like Noah just coming on through, eyes closed, foot down, turning left.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, it was a good job. So the only one other question I might have on that on for your race in general was, we were a little bit unsure on the fuel mileage. We were kind of thinking it was like right around the 20 laps or so point. But then we saw people really stretching it at one point in the race. Could you go like more like closer to 25 if you really went fuel save, or what was it feeling like for you?
Yeah, well, it would depend on if you're in traffic or not. If you're on clean air, you could probably make about 20, 21 laps somewhere around in that neighborhood. But on if you were in dirty air, you're lifting a lot more, you're saving a lot more fuel. You could probably stretch it to like 23 or 24, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it really depended on how much traffic you had around me. I was burning a lot less fuel per lap being surrounded by traffic than I was when I was testing and gathering all those numbers by myself. You know what I mean? So it really depended on where you're at and what was around you.
Okay, yeah. So we could definitely tell you're able to save fuel for sure there, but yeah, it was definitely, like I say, we were definitely kind of running the numbers and trying to figure it out. We saw a few different strategies, and it was pretty wild to watch there at the end. So, but yeah, like I said, great job though tonight, David. To say a great result for you. Definitely looking forward to see you back here for season 7 in a few more weeks, and so I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So you got a lot of good cars here that are gonna be. I think it's gonna be an even tighter championship battle there for this next season.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll be back in IndyCar. I may not be back for a full season in the Cup cars. I know, I run Indy and Cup with these guys. Only because we got our own thing going with some of the friends of mine where we're going to be starting up a new short track league, and that's going to take priority. But I will definitely be back in the Indy cars with Area 51 for season 7.
Awesome. Well, we'll be looking forward to. So yeah, definitely again, congrats on that second place run. Enjoy it, and then of course go find out what was being cooked and go enjoy some dinner.
All right.
That's why he screwed up his calculation. He's sitting there smelling dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way you think, Steve. I'm going to blame her. I mean, hold on. I'll be back in a second because I'm not going to have dinner if I do that.
Great run, Davis. I look forward to catching you again here soon.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for broadcasting the season and all the work you guys do. It was a lot of fun.
It's always
We'll
a
see you
blast to
next
be a
season.
part of. All right, Steve. That leaves last but not least to say it's one of those things where it's not always a what do you call it, the win and you're in type of situation here for the championship. I say Craig Forsyth, he had the 15-point lead going into it, but say he wasn't gonna let anything hamper his night tonight. Say had a lot of close action. I don't think there's anything much closer than coming out of turn 4, coming to the checkered there. We saw you have to make some pretty quick evasive actions on that one, but. I mean, first off, though, Craig, congratulations, season 6 champion, and of course, also congrats on the win here tonight at Indy. Obviously two pretty big wins to have for you for tonight. So, I mean, take us through your race, your mindset going into it, because you kind of controlled the race there up front. You were in those top 2, top 3 pretty much all race long there tonight.
Yeah, thanks. No, I knew I wanted to stay near the front because I wanted to stay out of any trouble, and I figured as long as I stayed with the top 5 guys, we were going to be safe and bad things weren't going to happen. And we were doing some leapfrogging with Matt and I there, just keeping it safe, keeping the momentum going, staying ahead of everything. And unfortunate that Eric got caught up in the second wreck there. At which point I knew I really just needed to keep it safe from then on. And then. Yeah, I think I sort of threw that out the window with 5 laps to go, and there was the 3 wide that I really should have backed out of being 3 wide because that never ends up well. And sure enough, I think Nick and Matt had a little net code there, and had Nick not been quick on the brakes there, might have collected me and could have changed everything there. So got lucky there, that's for sure. And then I was on that last corner. I mean, I'd been making a few tries at seeing how I was possibly going to try and get ahead, but I know that Matt defends well, and I was going to have to draft really hard to try and get him on the straight. So I was following him right down to the bottom there on that last corner, and I got lucky that once he started spinning, it was slow enough that I could veer right and avoid him.
Yeah, it was definitely, like you said, it was definitely a wild one time, and like you said, you were kind of controlling your destiny for most of that race up front there. But yeah, like you said, at the end though, I mean, it was pretty much all bets were off. I say you, Nick, and Matt were having an awesome battle. So you guys did a great job hitting your pit entry and exits, pretty much hitting those to perfection as well to be able to separate yourself from David and Charles and Benjamin there at the end to kind of let it be that 3-car fight at the end there. So. It was like I said, it was a lot of fun for Steve and I, and like you mentioned, obviously your strategy as well of starting up front, because we saw unfortunately early entering, I think it was turn 1, just coming after the green flag came out, someone got loose there on the inside line, and then from there caught up a handful of cars just right off the bat, and then like I said, it was your qualifying third definitely got you in a pretty safe spot just right off the bat there.
Yeah, I'm not the best coming up through the back, so it's definitely a riskier proposition. So that wasn't something I was going to chase after at all. Though in qualifying, I did spin my first lap, so I came close to having to try from the back.
Well, I say you got the job done this evening. I say you got the win, get the championship. So I mean, that's pretty much the best way to cap things off tonight. I say again, an awesome season. You and Eric put on an awesome show between the two of you. Already sounds like we got a couple of some pretty heavy hitters that are planning on being here for season 7. So it's gonna be fun. So I think you're gonna have a few more guys are gonna make life a little more difficult for you guys on this next season coming up.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. I mean, every season the competition gets stronger, and that's what you want for a thriving league. So this is a great thing to do on a Tuesday night. So. You guys know how much I love it, and we try and put on a good show for the folks that are watching.
No, you guys definitely. You definitely do that week in and week out, and I'm just lucky to be able to be a part of it, to watch you guys do what you do. I definitely want to give you the floor though, Craig. To definitely want to give you any thanks, shouts you'd like to give for the win, and of course your season 6 championship here with the Area 51 Indy Series.
I got to thank the team, lmcgear.com, the lightweight motorcycle gear. Camping gear. They are good supporters, and right there in Indiana and online. and you guys over at Green White Checkers, of course, and Butt Kicker for sponsoring the league, and all the guys at all the drivers in Area 51. It's a good bunch of guys. We get along well. We joke a lot. We race hard, and it's a good series to be in.
So I want to make sure I give Steve an opportunity to say. I don't know if he hasn't had a chance to quiz you yet, so I'll let Steve chime in here as well.
Connected twice. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that awesome championship, Craig, and great way to end the season, getting the win as well as the championship. I was surprised at how aggressive you were being. I know if I had been up there, I probably would have just hung out behind Matt Wagner and not been leapfrogging so much. And then we thought, well, he's probably trying to get the most laps led, and I could kind of understand that. But you had such a big lead and a big gap between yourself and Eric. So I'm just wondering what you were thinking there.
I'm not the smartest cookie in the world and have trouble dialing down, to the level that is the smartest thing to do.
Well, it definitely worked out for you, and just again, congratulations.
Thank you. No, it was everything worked out well. As I said, I mean, Nick joined just for this race. I think he's going to be here for next season. He's a hard competitor in the other leagues that we're in. You'll see him at the front all season long. And Matt, same way. I mean, well, we've seen he's a hard competitor who just wins didn't come his way as many as he probably should have got.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had a lot of second place finishes, and he was right in there till the last turn tonight. So, and that was a great battle between you three. I could see that Nick was kind of sizing you both up, trying different things, and we were wondering like when he was going to make the move. And I was kind of surprised that he did it up the middle going into turn 3, and that didn't. I'm just glad that you guys all, came out of it unscathed.
Yeah, I stayed as high as possible when that was happening. I was like, I do not like being 3 wide, especially on the outside.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, congrats again though, Craig. So definitely, again, obviously enjoy this one. Say well earned. I'll say it was a great fight between you and Eric all season long. So really, I'll say last year he was able to edge you out on the title. This year you're able to kind of grab it back from him. So yeah, definitely enjoy this one. Enjoy the championship, and as I said, we'll be looking forward to seeing you back here in just a few more weeks to start season 7.
You betcha, guys. You stay safe.
Yeah, take care, Craig.
All right, Steve. So that is our season 6 finale for the Indy series. So I want to definitely, of course, give you the floor, though. Any final thoughts from your end of obviously tonight's race, and of course just season 6 altogether in itself?
Well, I thought it was a really good season, especially with the big change that iRacing made, and these guys having to figure out how to tune the setups all over again. Looked like they finally got it the last 2 or 3 races, but the competition in this league is really excellent. A lot of respect, as I've said before, between these drivers, and it's a lot of fun to watch them go at it week after week. Craig Forsyth and Eric Schaus definitely the class of the field this season, and I'm just sorry that it ended up being so anticlimactic between the two of them for the championship tonight. But it was a really exciting race, and as Craig said, he had trouble dialing it back. So what he ended up doing was putting on a hell of a show for the fans, between him and Matt and Nick and other guys that were up there battling back and forth for the lead all race. So it was definitely a very fun race to watch.
Yeah, they put on a really good show all season, and like I said, it's gonna be even more. I think it's gonna be a little bit more intense next season. I mean, I suspect we'll see Craig and Eric right up there in the mix as well. Like you mentioned, of course, Matt Wagner going in full time next season. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, along with Nick DeGroot. If it sounds like he's going to be joining the mix as well. And then I mean, saying some drivers just didn't have the seasons they were looking for. Had some bad luck early on, like Charles T, David Payne getting that 2nd and 3rd tonight. Jim Brooks as well. I think he didn't have quite the season he was looking for. Did get the win, or get a win, I should say. But I say I honestly can see at least 6 or more drivers that really could be easy title contenders just right off the top of my head. And you always know there's going to be those kind of those dark horses that we don't even think about as well that might be going after it as well here, not too far away in season 7. That'll be coming up soon.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of fast guys here that could win on any given week.
And that's actually kind of a good segue as well. So for drivers that might be watching or might be interested, definitely check out the website for the league. It's area51iracing.com. Let's say you can definitely find out all the info there. Say they have a Discord channel for obviously for voice chat and also text communication, so you can get in touch with the admins and such with that. Also, going to mention, say I'll be mentioning it tonight as well as the next 2 nights as well. Going into season 7, I'm going to make a little bit of adjustments. I'm going to switch over to primarily just YouTube for my broadcasts, and that way we can actually get the events scheduled the way I'd like it to be instead of kind of having just pop them up a little early. That way everybody can find it way ahead of time. So be looking for that in the near future. I'll be doing some testing with that so that everybody can see when they're going live. So definitely find us on Green White Checkered TV on YouTube. That's going to be where we're going to be primarily going over for that one as well. I'm going to see, I don't know if he's still around or not. We'll try to put him on the spot here. I'm going to bring in one of the powers that be, that number 76 of Jim Brooks. Not sure if he's actually here or not. May have just left Discord on, so we'll see. See if that administrator here is active at the moment. Yeah, I think that answers my question. But yeah, so I just want to let you all know for season 7 that'll be coming up. Say obviously it's kind of crazy. This has only been about a year since this has kicked off for us with Green White Checker TV. It's grown more than I would have ever imagined, and I really got to thank everybody that's been a part of the broadcasts. Joining me in the booth like yourself, Steve. It's been a pleasure having you with me. I've always it just makes it that much more enjoyable. And then also, of course, all the people that watch and comment in the chat. Rachel, of course, she's kind of one of the more dedicated viewers, supporting Eric week in, week out. That's I love to see that kind of stuff. So really appreciate you, Rachel, as well, being a part of this one. So we'll be back again on Thursday. We'll have the Cup Series finale. So that one's pretty much wrapped up for the championship side of things. However, we got a really good fight going on for that second position in that championship fight. And of course, Sunday we got the Super Speedway Cup Series, where that one I believe is going to come down to the finale as well. So for myself and Steve Gottschalk, really want to thank you all again for joining us tonight for our Season 6 finale here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, congrats to Craig Forsyth on the race win and the Season 6 championship. And of course, as always, if you can, everybody, please try to stay home, stay safe, and wash your hands. And until Thursday, have a good night.
Night, everybody.